$1,000. I'm Russ Rollins along with Angel and Carlos and Ryan Holmes here today. So, Los, you got to go see, it was the premiere of Aladdin. You know, yesterday I saw on Ellen, Will Smith came out to promote this.
Yeah, I saw it too. It was really cool.
He's just a likable dude, man. I mean, I don't know how you can not like Will Smith.
Yeah, man. There's certain people that if you don't like, I'm going to judge you. If you walk up to me and say, Will Smith, I just don't like him, I'm going to be like, well, we don't have much to talk about, do we?
I don't get that. Yeah, how could you not like him? He's just,
somebody living to their fullest and really working hard. And not,
see when he came out and he started singing Getting Jiggy with it?
Yeah,
like all the I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool.
It was great. Yeah, no, yesterday I was fortunate enough to go out to the premiere of Aladdin. Thank you, Disney, for having it and having us and my family out. And it was at the beautiful Point Orlando theater, the big-ass IMAX theater.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah, it is. And so before I even go on into this, I will say I'm extremely biased to Aladdin. It is my favorite Disney cartoon, full feature.
It was always your favorite Disney movie.
Yeah. I mean, I love Lion King, and I love a bunch of them, but when it comes to Aladdin. Oh, yes, Angel. Thank you. Crank up that music. I'm a little deaf. When it comes to Aladdin, I always connected to him because he was always running around the streets and being so crazy. And when I grew up, I did a little bit of that. And
so you felt like you were Aladdin.
I was a little connected to Aladdin in that way. Not the prince part, not the prince part. More so just the kind of mischievous kind of. And I love the songs. And the real big connection was Robin Williams. I've talked about my fascination with Robin Williams forever.
Yeah.
And definitely an entertainment comedy mentor of mine that I've always just loved. And the voices that he would do and that he did for that character were the first time we ever seen anything like that. He was the first major gigantic celebrity to voice a cartoon, a full feature cartoon. And you were able to
suspend your belief.
Exactly.
It didn't seem like it was Robin Williams. It's
right.
Like, oh, that's the genie.
Yeah, exactly. He was the genie. And if you ever want to look into something really interesting about how that was even made, that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But they said it wouldn't work. They were like, why would anybody even care about a celebrity's voice being out there? Well, it did, and it literally exploded Disney's feature 2D films. I mean, from there, you had a Lion King.
Okay, let's do this again.
Exactly.
It worked with Robin Williams.
James Earl Jones as Mufasa, and then you got down the line, you know. And so I was so excited to see this, and I rarely do go to movies at the movie theater unless it's a really cool event, like when Jeff had the Avengers, or so. To go out to bring my family to it, which you know my wife is not even a big movie fan.
Oh, I know. But you guys have dressed up like Aladdin several times.
We have. So it was a big deal. And so we went out there, we sit down, and the movie begins. And I can gauge most of the time, and I bet you, Ryan, you're kind of the same way. Within the first 5 minutes, I can be like, I'm going to love this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Or I'm going to hate this movie. And maybe that's bad because then you already are going down a path, but usually it's how it works.
Yeah.
And I tell you, when it started, I was like, uh-oh.
I'm going to hate it?
This ain't going to be good.
Really?
Yes. And I'll tell you why. It was so fast-paced. Zero character development. Zero, like, boom, 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 there's Aladdin and Jasmine, and you're already supposed to care for them. Now, I get it.
Off the bat?
Right off the bat. I mean, it's almost...
So they're not following the cartoon.
Well, you think that, and then you go back and you kind of... There was a little bit more character development in the cartoon, but there is a reason for that. And I forgot. This is the blueprint that Disney does for these live-action films. They fast-forward the beginning in order to get to a bigger, deeper middle and ending because it's live action, so you kind of have to have it. They did it with Beauty and the Beast. They did it with Cinderella. They did it with and they'll probably do it with Lion King. So I even looked at my wife and I'm like, uh-oh. But I understand why they wanted to fast forward to it, okay? They wanted to get to the genie.
Sure.
Because the second Will Smith hits the scene, the movie, it explodes. And it becomes this amazing, magical, fun ride. Funny. And the songs are more elaborate, and they stick to the tone and the same notes that you wanted to hear. It's not like a totally different original version where you're like, No, I mean, how could you not do A Friend Like Me?
Yeah.
And you see it live action and the different characters, and he's not doing Robin Williams.
Yeah.
In fact, I read a little bit more. He didn't want to do Robin Williams. I mean, he actually didn't want to play the part at all.
Yeah, because he said, I saw yesterday
Yeah.
on Ellen, he said, listen, Robin Williams nailed this. I mean, nailed it so bad. How can I make it any better?
Exactly. And this is Will Smith as A Friend Like Me. Crank it up a little bit, Angel. He does his own version, but he sticks to that fun and crazy and irreverent style that Robin Williams did. But you're seeing it live action. And I got to tell you, the person who played the actor who played Aladdin and Jasmine are fantastic. At first, I was like, why are they the only ones without an accent? But then I was like, well, in the cartoon Aladdin, that's how it was too.
Yeah.
So they stuck with that. Now, when the genie gets there, you really get to see how much Guy Ritchie was able to take this beloved 2D animation film and make it this massive, epic film. Now, we know Guy Ritchie is directing Lock, Stock, and Smoking Barrels and Snatch and these really gritty English, awesome dramas, or black comedies, you could kind of call it. But I think, remember the movie King Arthur that you didn't like and a lot of people didn't like?
Yeah.
I think Disney saw what he was able to do visually with King Arthur and go, oh, he can make this movie. Because he also wrote the screenplay. And the amount of CGI and action sequences and different dance scenes and musicals from Bollywood to almost Greatest Showman type of feel, he nailed it.
Hey, who was is Joffrey?
Russ,
the villain.
Jafar.
Jafar. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, so this was my one major issue with the movie.
Oh, really?
It almost. All right, this is no diss to Marwan Karzani, who did a great job acting it, who did a wonderful job playing that character. I should say acting, right?
Yeah.
But to me, Jafar, his voice, the way that he looked, the way that he acted, every bit about him was evil.
Yeah.
And this guy was just a little bit older than Aladdin. His voice was up here.
Oh, see, that would drive me nuts.
It was totally miscast. Totally miscast.
Yeah.
The entire time I'm going, why didn't they there's another guy, I think his name is Kazim, who plays the lead, or Hakim, who plays the lead kind of soldier, who looked more like Jafar, who acted more like Jafar. It was so distracting to me personally,
Yeah.
and I was trying to let it go, that it could have like messed up the entire film if the other parts of the film were just so damn good and fun and everything. And I don't normally, and like I said, it's not the guy who acted. He did a great job. But to me, I'm not scared of a guy who's yelling at you like
Remember, this was my same argument I had. The Grinch
Yes.
out at the Grinch thing, and the guy that did the Grinch voice and song had a high voice.
Yeah.
And we all know the Grinch has a you're
Right.
a mean one, Mr. Grinch. And it just, you're right. I could not pay attention to anything else. It bothered me.
Oh my God. It was so, I mean, even the age, like Aladdin and Jafar are like, man, 30, 40 years apart. And this guy looked like it was like his cool uncle, uncle. It was so distracting at times that I was like, forget about it, Carl, just watch the damn movie. But I couldn't because Jafar is such a big part of the film.
Sure.
And you want to hate him. But I wasn't even hating this guy. I was just like, I mean, I think I could take him in an MMA match.
Hey,
You know?
and then we're up against a break here,
Yeah.
but another part that I loved about Aladdin was the bird.
Iago. And
Iago.
they do a great job with
Oh,
Iago.
so is it Gilbert Gottfried?
No. They didn't do Gilbert Gottfried. And they didn't push it to the limits where Iago's talking the whole time like in the movie. They really played every other aspect perfect. The tiger, and I'm blanking on the tiger's name, was great. The CGI in this film, Raja, good job. Working on Walking Dead and a bunch of other stuff where they needed a bunch of CGI, it is the biggest deal on the set to do any CGI at all. The amount of CGI with tigers and birds, this movie must have cost $250 million to make. I think it is going to make way more than that. Now, I say all that to get to this. Who is the biggest barometer of how good this movie is going to do?
Your kid.
Your kid, right? My daughter, who wasn't that excited to go see it, I'll be perfectly honest, she's never seen the 2D film.
Which is insane to me.
I know, right?
She's never seen Aladdin?
She's seen a bunch of other stuff, but 2D films to a lot of kids now is like, I was like so hoping, and I didn't ask her to the movie, and I'm watching her, and she's laughing, and she's cheering, and she's covering her eyes. And the second the movie ends, she goes, Daddy, we have to get this movie when it comes out. This is my favorite movie.
Oh, good.
She loved it. My wife loved it.
She doesn't like movies.
She doesn't like, unless it's Hallmark or Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen,
yeah,
she's not that into it. And the entire theater, round of applause.
Oh, good.
Several times in it. It is a massive hit. I highly suggest you take you or your family, if you're a 90s kid and you loved it, go see it. So much work done in it. I highly, highly recommend it. It's so much fun. I may go see it again with my daughter. I want to thank, once again, Disney, everybody else for having us out there, and everybody who came up and said hello. It seemed like it was an overwhelming, everybody really enjoyed it. Other than my little personal thing with Jafar, which my daughter had no clue. You know, that was my own personal thing. I think it's fantastic. I do wonder how much it'll make.
It's this weekend, right?
It is, this weekend. And, Aladdin, I give it a big A+. Go see it. And if you thought the same, hit me up at Instagram. You can hit me up at @ToTheTopCarlos.
All right, when we come back, it's time for Angel to bring you Monster Sports. You're listening